Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. Time to give you an update to Lark Distillery, looking at their financial year 22 June quarter results. For full disclosure purposes, I am a shareholder of this company and hope to be a shareholder of this company for many years to come. However, this June quarter was a good quarter for the company and its shareholder because they were operating cash flow positive for the quarter, and hopefully that's going to continue over the next few quarters, next few years, because this company will be growing the cash receipts, will be growing their revenue each and every quarter, each and every year. And I think the future is bright for one of the best whiskey distillery companies in the world. So it's fairly strange to say that, because going back 20 years ago, whiskey in Australia were not synonymous with each other. So you thought about maybe Scotland, Kentucky, Japan when it comes to whiskey, but Tasmania is becoming a whiskey hotspot in the world right now, and I think that trend will continue moving forward. Now, just a few facts in regards to Lark Distillery. Should I mention this is a whiskey distillery company? That should be fairly obvious right now. The company itself was founded in 1992, but if you do a bit of research and try to figure out when this company listed on the ASX, there will be quite a few sites that will spit out November 2003, but that was another company called Montec. Montec, whatever they were doing, something to do with health food, they failed, and then they became Australian Whiskey Holdings, AWY, if I remember correctly. Australian Whiskey Holdings then bought a stake in Lark Distillery, and then that stake actually increased by about 2018, 2020, or something like that. So Montec became Australian Whiskey in 2015. Australian Whiskey then became Lark Distillery, I think it was in early 2020. And this company has gone through a couple of share consolidations. So this company has raised a lot of cash over the past 18, 19 years. The current CEO is an interim CEO or managing director. That's Laura McBain. Won't get into why she's interim right now, because the old CEO or managing director did some naughty things. And a couple of major shareholders in this company include Quality Life. They have an 8.9% stake, and Perennial have a 14.6% stake. And the current market cap, I think, is a low market cap for this company, particularly the assets they have in stock in their barrels, 244 million at a share price of $3.20. And the ticker code for the company is LRK. Now on to the Appendix 4Cs. And the first 4C we're going to look at is the June quarter for financial year 21. And then we'll focus on how this company has performed over the past year by looking at the most recent Appendix 4C. So 1 year ago, receipts of customers 5.2 million. And I fully expect receipts from customers and revenue for this company to continually increase quarter on quarter, year on year. There might be a little bit of lumpiness there, but I do expect the trend to be up quite significantly and long lasting. But in this particular quarter, receipts of customers 5.2 million, and the company was burning through a lot of cash at this point in time, 3.8 million for the quarter and $6.3 million for the year. Because they were burning through a lot of cash on hand actually fell from 11.6 million to 7.6 million. So this company was needing to do capital raisings at this point in time because of the cash burn. So the other thing the company does provide is the wine they have in their barrels, the valuation of that wine if they had to liquidate it, and also the valuation of that wine if they kept it in their barrels and then sell it 5, 10 years in the future. So let's have a look at that. And this is the best way to value Lark, in my opinion. And this is a table they provide in their Appendix 4Cs mostly. But for the June quarter 2022, they didn't actually provide this table at all, which I did find a little bit surprising. But in this table, they provide when the whiskey is going to mature, the amount of liters of whiskey they have at maturation, the liquidation value of that whiskey, and then the net sales value at maturation, which should be a higher value than the liquidation value. And the amount they give is $216 per liter. So the liters of whiskey were up to 1.1 million at the end of 30th of June, 2021, so the end of financial year 21. The liquidation value, 113.8 million, and the maturation value at $216 per litre was $236 million. I think, in my opinion, this is the way you should value Lark Distillery. Just looking at the assets they have, the whiskey they have in their barrels, and taking the value of that whiskey when it does mature and they're able to sell it. Now, let's have a look at the June quarter results for financial year 22. And I was a little bit surprised this was an operating cash flow positive quarter. Receipts to customers up 3.2 million, up to 8.4 million. And the company was operating cash flow positive by $1.5 million in this quarter. However, for the full financial year, they are operating cash flow negative by $8 million. So let's have a look at the receipts, up 3.2 million. One of the reasons they were operating cash flow positive for this quarter was because product manufacturing operating costs were actually down $3.5 million in this quarter. Staff costs and administration costs up $1.3 million combined. So it was just that product manufacturing operating costs down 3.5 million was the reason why this company was operating cash flow positive. And the majority of that operating cash flow fell to the bottom line. And that's why the cash on hand actually increased from 14.8 million to $16.1 million by the end of this quarter, by the end of the financial year. The question is whether this sort of result can continue into the September quarter, the December quarter. I'm a little bit dubious, particularly around that product manufacturing and operating costs. I haven't taken a hard look at this particular Appendix 4C. I'm going to take a closer look and try to find out why product manufacturing and operating costs were down by such a large amount and whether that can continue into the next few quarters. Now, the company did not provide this table in the June quarter Appendix 4C. So we have to go back to the March quarter to look at how things have changed, how the amount of whiskey they have in their barrels has increased, what the value of that whiskey is right now. So if we go back to the liters of whiskey as at 31st March 2022, it's grown from about 1.1 million to 1.95 million. The liquidation value of that whiskey has increased to 177.8 million. And the net sales value at maturation date at a price tag of $216 per litre is now up to $421.8 million, significantly higher than the market cap of this company right now. So one of the reasons why you might see the market cap a little bit lower than the maturation date value is simply because the market is expecting the company to do further capital raisings because the company will continue to burn through a lot of cash. That is a possibility, in my opinion, but I think the market is or has overreacted to the sacking of the old managing director because of the naughty stuff he is doing. And it does look like this market is starting to turn. The sentiment is starting to shift. And we'll have a look at that possible shift in sentiment when we look at the chart. Now to the receipts history for Lark Distillery, and nothing surprising here. We should fully expect receipts to climb consistently through time. Now, there's going to be a little bit of lumpiness here, but not a lot. Not as much as you see some other companies on the ASX. And we did see receipts actually fall from the December quarter to the March quarter from 6.1 million to 5.1 million. Then we saw it increase again. But mostly we do see receipts growing consistently through time. So the trend is there, and this is the trend we want to see. And there's no reason to expect the trend not to continue over the next few years, next 5 years, next 10 years. The sky is the limit for this company moving forward, in my opinion. Now let's have a look at the daily chart for Lark Distillery. And this goes back almost exactly 1 year to August last year. Share price was in a nice little uptrend at that point in time, reached a high of $5.60 in October. And then we saw the share price come under a little bit of pressure over the following few months. And then we saw that stuff with the old managing director. He's long gone now. And now we have an interim CEO. One thing I should mention is I think it's going to be highly important, the next CEO and the talents the next CEO has, because the evolution of this company and the further evolution of this company is going to be highly determined by the new CEO. And I think one of the most important steps the new CEO can really drive forward is the moat this company potentially has with the brand, because branding is one of the best moats a company can have. And right now, Lark Distillery and the whiskey they have are highly thought of in the whiskey world. So if they can really build on that brand for the future, I think this company has blue sky ahead. But that question comes around, who is going to be the new CEO. There is potential Laura McBain could be the go from the interim CEO to the new CEO, but I have no idea. But anyway, the share price was under pressure because of the old managing director. Share price, one of the reasons why anyway. Share price fell from $5.60 all the way to a low of $2.40. But recently, particularly on the back of the Appendix 4C, we have seen a potential shift in sentiment. Share price is moving up, and the share price tried to get above the old high we saw in early June, but struggled. And if we do see the share price get above $3.40, that would be a bullish move moving forward for this company. That's all I have for this June quarter Appendix 4C video for Lark Distillery. This was an operating cash flow positive quarter for the company. I was a little bit surprised. I did not expect that for another year or so, but I think this positive momentum this company is experiencing right now can continue. And if we do see signs of a new CEO in the next 6 months, a year, and that CEO absolutely blows us away, I think blue sky is potential for this company, particularly if they build this company around the moat they have in regards to the brand they are selling. And that's very important, I think, moving forward, is to focus on that brand, focus on that really powerful moat they have the potential to have in the future. If you have any questions about Lark Distillery or any other companies on the ASX, just leave any questions, comments, thoughts in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.